What's wrong? We just found out that Elias Voit was transferred 2 weeks ago from Seattle to Virginia. Before that, he spent some time on the 9th floor.
Of this building?
He was here.
Who the hell approved that transfer?
Whoever it was wanted to hide it, because I traded sleep for spelunking in the name of justice. This thing was buried deeper than Voight's containers. This footage was logged 2 weeks ago.
When the new season opens, the BAU is kind of celebrating, but that's really short-lived. Can you talk about some of the things your characters are going through this season?
Yeah. Kirsten, you want to go first? Or?
Okay.
No,
Sure.
I felt like I was cutting you off. I didn't want
No, you were. I was like, and tell me.
Oh.
You go.
Okay. Well, we start off, it feels celebratory, but there's no rest for the weary, and the bad guys don't sleep. So things things are off to an exciting start, and I think it becomes obvious really quickly that Voight is going to be an integral part of us moving forward.
Right.
I love the way that all plays out, and you really get to see the genius of Voight, which I think gives credibility to the fact that we accept the fact that we need him, although we hate it. We just realize like there probably is no way, at least not anytime soon, of getting to the bottom of this without the help from this monster. And I think that really kicks off the season in a way that becomes interesting really fast.
And you have to interrogate him in one of those early episodes. What's it like playing in that scene, doing that kind of cat and mouse?
I love it. I mean, because we're getting a chance to do some, some things that we didn't get to do, let's say, in the show's earlier iteration on network.
Yeah.
The scenes have a chance to live. They've got there's breath that can be, taken and allowing the tension to really build. And then I think the reactions to some of these things get to be even more realistic because, we're not confined to operating within the parameters of a network television show. And so how did it feel in that moment? It felt great, because as a character, I know, Luke wanted to get physical with this guy a long time ago. And, and this is finally that moment where, he gets to do that. So I think that'll give some relief to the audience because they've probably been feeling that way too. But at the same time, it just kicks off a new dimension of challenges that we're entering based on the information that he gives. And you just see, I mean, Voight just keeps upping his game every step along the way. He's created this game and he's playing us, and we're working our hardest to keep up and to hopefully get ahead in the end.
Kirsten, where does Garcia fit in that?
I think that the whole, like, what's cool about this season, especially because they're really just yes-anding from last season, and the writers have it all, like, they have it all laid out. It's kind of amazing, like what they're sort of constructing. So I think that the whole thing, the whole show, now it's like you start out and you're like, what's real, which is like the most terrifying thing when you're so sure of who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, quote unquote, who you want to work with, who you trust. And we are thrust in this situation where people we do not trust, we have to rely on. And whether that be in like my situation with like Tyler being there, whether it be Voight, and who are the bad guys. And what I always think that this show, even in its first inception, I always thought that Criminal Minds really sings when we know that monsters create monsters. So people have a whole constellation of ways of expressing themselves and choices they make. Some of them are terrible, some of them are good. And I think that convergence of like, wait, who's the good guy, and why is the good guy doing the dumb thing, and why is the dumb guy that's supposed to be evil doing the thing that's helpful? So it does that, and I think that all of us get caught up in that. And I can say that Garcia, out of everybody, does keep her composure this season. I can say that, in those moments where you see the metal of like, who's going to be freaked out, like you expect her to be the one who's like, oh no, she's the scared little bird. That there's sometimes that she is not, that she is like, she's not afraid of like mental games. I think she is like, I'll mental game you all day.
You mentioned the writing. Do you get to do any writing this season?
I don't, but that's okay, because I love acting on this show. And there's 10 episodes. And do you know, see, it's different with the directing. We have 5 people in our cast right now that's directing episodes. And they each one.
Yeah, I was going to say, Adam, is he doing any directing this season?
Yeah, Zach, Joe, Aisha, AJ, each one incredible. On our writing side, what you might not know is that besides Erica, Breen, and Chris, which are sort of like the head of the ship, everybody else worked on Criminal Minds either as a PA or an unpaid intern or an assistant. And they have moved up the ranks and become incredible writers on their own that are deeply invested in things like gory kill shows, which I am not. And I love being in it and I love doing all that. But the idea that I would then come in and lift one of those shows from one of them, it's not the same with the directing. We've always just had guest people come in and out. It's not the same. I would be taking away from me by writing an episode, because I would be taking away from one of them doing it. And that I don't want to do that at all. And it's really fun to just act, because when you write, they make it fun every day. You have to watch it multiple times. And I am lazy.
You guys have both done behind the scenes stuff on the show, writing, directing. How does it help you as an actor?
I'm undoubtedly a better actor from having the experience of directing. I think, you just, like anything, perspective is the thing that will allow you a chance to grow in ways you couldn't imagine until you've had that perspective. And so, when you understand, look, as an actor, you come in, and that's your job, is to act, and you've got to do a whole bunch of preparation for that. And there's a whole lot of work that goes into that. And then as a director, there's a whole lot of work that goes into the making of it as a whole. And so you are connected to so many aspects of making a show that you aren't as an actor. And so once you get a glimpse into those other worlds and what it takes to make decisions in regards to those parts of the show, you come back in as an actor more informed and more aware of what those other things take, the kind of concentration, the kind of effort, and just the amount of work. And after being aware of those things in a way that you weren't prior to that experience, like you can't help but be better. You can't help but know more about where you need to be or how you can help in ways that you might not have been conscious of before. And so I love the directing for that. But the thing I really love about the directing is getting to work with the crew that we're there with every day in a different capacity. So you have people on set, people that are there, doing whatever they're doing, whether it's set design, wardrobe, lighting, you name it. As a director, you're relying on those people in ways that you're not considering necessarily while you're acting. And so, those relationships get a chance to develop further when you're relying on each other in new ways. And I love that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's my time. I'm sorry. They're telling me to wrap it up. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, man.
Thank you both so much. I can't wait to see the rest of the season.
Thank you, Josh.
Enjoy it. Take care.
So, second season on Paramount Plus. Do you feel like there's more freedom for storytelling on streaming than network TV?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this has really been in a lot of ways like this is the show that we were all destined to make, and we're finally getting a chance to make it the way it should be made, having more time, having kind of some of the creative restraints loosened or destroyed in terms of the way we relate to each other, or the language that we use, the scenarios that we engage in. It's just more truthful. It's more honest to real life. I always say, like, if you stumbled across a dead body, you would drop an F-bomb. And so it just feels a lot more authentic and grounded now. And we're also just able to spend more time with these characters in their emotional lives and their interior lives. We've got more time to tell those more complex stories,
Yeah, right on. I got to watch the first 2 episodes of the new season. What can you guys tell me about Gold Star?
Oh, nothing. We would have to kill it.
I would say what starts as a simple phrase last season.
Yeah.
Really, the writing team have done an excellent job at creating a very complex, very compelling mystery that follows. So I think that fans are really going to be excited by that, and as soon as you think you know what the hell's going on, it's they kind of rip you in a different direction. So it's a really good season.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's very cerebral and very like connecting the dots, trying to put this 3D puzzle together. And it's our writers have done such a fantastic job this season in particular of stringing along all these ideas and thoughts and making it all come together and have it make complete sense eventually. But it's a heck of a ride to get there, and it's so compelling, and every episode is going to leave the audience hanging, and you just want more. So I think that's props to them for writing such a strong season.
Definitely. And Voight's still a pretty big presence here too. Where do you guys think he fits among this series kind of rogues gallery?
I mean, I think something that gets lost a little bit in the longer like narrative life of the show is that we couldn't do our jobs without an intimate understanding of how serial killers work. And that requires intimacy with serial killers. It requires getting inside their head. We're not, profilers don't guess. They know based on, reams of data and interactions with real sociopaths, how these guys operate, what makes a serial killer, how they move through the world, and the clues that they leave behind that help us figure out what they're going to do next. It requires talking to serial killers and getting really familiar with the inner workings of their minds. And so this is really an exploration of that relationship, the one doesn't exist without the other. The show Mindhunter, which we're all fans of that show because it's about the beginnings of the BAU that started with them interviewing serial killers. And that's what we do. That's how we built our knowledge base. So to bring this guy in, who from all intents and purposes is the most prolific serial killer that we've ever had to interact with. He's a really bad guy. And he's also incredibly sophisticated, manipulative. He's besting us at our own game, which we do not like at all. But we need him. We need him to get the job done.
He's our Hannibal Lecter this season.
Totally. Yeah, that's a great analogy. RJ is a newcomer. What's it like coming into a show with so much like history and lore?
Yeah, I think that the longevity of this show is a serious badge of honor. I mean, what other show can have an audience base like this rabid 17 seasons in? It's a real testament to the creatives and this amazing cast. And I got to say, as the new guy, it's a delightful group of people. I was thinking last week about our wrap day. We had the entire cast and crew in this big room for a group picture and kind of a final goodbye. And Erica got up and spoke, and Joe got up and spoke. And the affection was just so palpable that it was like you can't fake that amongst a group of 200 plus people. It's a really special thing. And I mean, I hope and I think that we're just getting started here. So hopefully there's many more seasons to come.
It sounds like there's a real like family environment. I just talked to Adam and Kirsten, and they talked about how a lot of the writers were, PAs and stuff like that, and brought up slowly. What's that kind of atmosphere like?
It's just, I mean, I think it is a testament to Erica Messer and Breen Fraser and and Chris Barber specifically, that kind of, we wanted to build a set culture that was really healthy and supportive, and honestly, like, healthy set culture means like a good set culture means a good show. And it's not like people haven't made, really interesting work in a really toxic work environment, but healthier, the healthier the set, the more intensity and intention and joy people are going to bring to set every day. And it's just a great place to come to work. And we really wanted to create a place where people felt like they could be free to do their best work without the distractions of, like, set mayhem, which some other shows may suffer from. And it's just a joy to come to the show every day. We really feel like a company. And I think I remember saying that to Brina and Eric last year, like, it really feels like, like we're a company, like we're a theater company, right? Like we're all galvanized together to do great work. And it's a really nice feeling.
That's awesome. You and AJ have done directing before. Are you guys doing any directing this season?
Yes.
Nice.
Premiered the first night.
Yeah, I directed episode 2. So my episode
no kidding.
with episode 1 on June 6th. So it's exciting. And the scripts have just been phenomenal this year. So it's always such a real honor to get handed that script, and then you just dive in there and see what crazy shots you come up with in your head, and you get to trust in your crew that we can do this. That's the best feeling of all, is knowing that we are a team effort, and we are all here because we're passionate and we love our job. And we're grateful. We have a lot of gratitude that we get to come to this place to work together. So directing is just such an honor, and I have the show to thank for that. It's truly become the love of my life as far as the art form. So I'm beyond grateful for those opportunities.
That's awesome. I've got to wrap, but episode 2 was fantastic. The interrogation scenes were so good. I can't wait to see what's next. Thank you guys for your time. So when the new season opens, there's a little bit of a celebration going on, but that's really short-lived. Can you talk about what these characters are going through?
Well, anybody who's watched the show for any period of time can figure out that they've gone through quite a bit, as usual.
Yeah.
And I think it's, in a way, it's kind of good that we open it up on something that's untypical of what they're going to face over the course of this coming season. So, but I think it's a testament to a group of people who have been together for a long time and have been through hell and back and hell again, So, and I think that's what happens in life too. You have to have those moments where you can kind of, like, regardless of how hard the job is, we all have to kind of, all for one and one for all, and let's enjoy the good times when we have them, and then let's just see where that takes us. So I think it's a fitting way to kind of kick things off, but then it goes pretty squirrely from there on.
It goes pretty quick. Yeah. So you've got a new big bad in Gold Star, but you've also got Voight is a big part of this new season, from what I can tell from the first 2 episodes. Can you talk about some of that, and what's it like being that kind of villain?
This season's been a lot of fun. Last season, I was kind of playing this family man. I had this dark side, but I didn't really play the dark side as much. And not that I'm playing a dark side this year, but I'm in a completely different situation. I'm trying to manipulate my way out of it. I'm trying to drive wedges between different members of the BAU. I'm trying to make them slip up so that I can gain something. And so I kind of just get to fuck with them a lot. And, hold over their head like, hey, I've got information you want. If you want it, you got to give me something. So it's kind of this like nothing to lose attitude, which is a lot of fun because last season he had everything to lose.
Yeah. One of your cast members described this as the Criminal Minds version of Hannibal Lecter, which is a big deal. I mean, that's a cool archetype to play with. What's it like playing in that world?
It's fun. They've written great things for me. I've always been someone who hates when things feel forced or contrived, and you're like, this would never happen. I buy everything that happens within the world in which we've created. I love that, the one person they have to rely on is the one person that is the last person they would ever want to have to work with. And I think it really, it gives them our heroes, if you want to call them that, a lot, a lot to play. It puts them in a difficult position where they have to do a lot begrudgingly because they're trying to serve the greater good, and sometimes that goes against what you personally want to do.
Yeah. Joe, what's it like for you seeing the series go on to something like Paramount Plus? Is there more freedom for storytelling? How's that different for you?
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think people learned that right away as soon as they heard that first F-bomb come out of David Ross's mouth. I mean, I was getting emails and stuff from like crazy, like, oh my God. But then I think for the most part, they all thought, yeah, if anybody's going to start doing that, it's going to be your character. I'm going to lead the way with that kind of stuff. But I think that adds that depth of realism to it. I mean, I think all of a sudden we're a streaming platform. We don't have to build toward a commercial break. There's a certain freedom. I think the whole show has a more cinematic look to it. I was proud of what we did for the 15, the whatever 15 years we were on CBS. But I think it is an evolution, and I think we've taken it to the next level. And it's a blessing to get that opportunity. And I think you only get that by having a degree of success, to the sense that people around the world have embraced this show. So we must be doing something right. They like the format. They like, you compare it to music. There's been a lot of bands. What made the Beatles, and taking them a little bit to where their success has endured and endured. So you just try to take what you do best and build on it.
Yeah, you're talking my language. I'm a big Beatles fan. Talking to some of the other cast members, it seems like there's a real family environment. Some talked about even the writers were PAs, had other minor roles in the show, and kind of came up. What's it like working in a production like that?
I mean, I'll even say, as the new guy coming in to season 16, I was a little intimidated. Everybody's worked with each other forever, yada yada, and it was just everyone. Just the first time they met me, said, "We're so happy you're here. We can't wait to work with you." Kirsten brought me cookies to my trailer. Paget one day stayed after, like a scene after she was done, just to introduce herself. So it really made me feel like, oh, okay, like I'm valued here, and allowed me to kind of focus on my work as opposed to just trying to fit in. And coming back this season and knowing everyone so well, and post COVID, now that there's no masks and stuff, it gives you the opportunity to get to know the crew even better as well, which really I think is a huge part of what builds camaraderie on a show. Is when you all know each other. It's not cast and crew. It's kind of one big family. And this season was just really special, I think, because after the whole pandemic, this is the first experience I've had where like really everyone can interact with everyone and get to know each other and let each other know how much you value them.
I gotta know, do we get to find out later in the season what you whisper to Alves in episode 2?
Yes, you do.
Nice. Can you guys talk about some of what unfolds in the last 8 episodes? I mean, it just builds and builds in the first 2 episodes, but what can we expect for the rest of the season?
I think you said it. It builds and builds. You know what I mean? But I think there's a reason we've been on this long. I mean, because and being in this new kind of a format makes it pretty interesting because we're able to tell the long story. We're able to get really involved with these characters. But at the end of the day, also the personal lives of the characters has always been very, very important. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. What happens to the personal life of David Rossi, who has been married 3.5 times and lost 2 wives to death, and as a child somewhere. What happens to AJ's has a family. We see a relationship that's happened with Aisha's character. So I mean, all of these storylines lend themselves, that's the reason why soap operas sometimes go 30, 40, 50 years, because I think the public enjoys, once they can embrace a collection of people and are invested in those characters, they're willing to take the ride for as long as you're willing to tell interesting stories about them. And I think this season is just a continuation of that.
When you first signed on, did you have any inclination at all that you'd be here still doing the show in 2024?
Me? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You go into something thinking, yeah, this looks like fun. We'll see how long this goes. Like I said, my hair was black when I joined the show. and I thought, I'd never done anything. The only thing I've done longer is The Simpsons. I've been Fat Tony for like 32 years now.
Yes.
So I feel pretty good about that. I got, okay, those two, two different versions of two different Italian guys. One from one side of the street, one guy from the other. But it's been great.
You must be a good luck charm.
I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah. Is there anywhere that your character hasn't gone that you'd like to see it go?
It's me or Zach.
Either one.
It's so new for me. I mean, I've only gotten to do 2 seasons, and who knows if I'll be back. But I love this character. I think there's a lot to him. I think there's a lot more story he could tell. Yeah, I think there's a lot. I mean, he's clearly a twisted, layered individual. So, I would love to keep making the audience cheer for him in some respect, in a way that makes them feel icky.
You got to have a good villain.
Yeah.
It's nothing without a good villain. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
My feeling is we'll see what happens with it's been a kiss of death to get involved with Rossi personally, on a romantic level. So we'll see if indeed maybe I'm just not destined to take that path. But we'll see. But just like with all the characters, let's just see what's happened to them when they're not at work, what's happening with their lives. That makes it all pretty interesting.
Yeah. Right on. Perfect. Well, that's my time. Thank you both so much. I can't wait to
Thank
watch
you
the rest
so
of the
much.
season.
Thanks, Josh.